And the team has changed a bit, to say the least, since that day. Although interestingly, that day's match winner, Kane Kesler-Hayden, has got a different job today down the left-hand side. What hasn't changed is the kit selection by both teams. Town in the pink, Preston in white shirts, very dark blue shorts and white socks with blue hoops on them. Preston have made some changes, but their selection fairly familiar as well. Daniel Johnson, Al Brown, Hughes, Lindsay, Ledson in the lineup that they select today for this FA Cup third round tie, which, unlike last year, you remember we didn't have replays in the third round last year because they were trying to get the fixture clock out of the way following the COVID break. There could be a replay here today.
You had to throw that one in, didn't you?
Yes.
You had to throw it in.
Well,
we're all feeling positive for a 3-0 town win.
I don't know whether it's positive or negative. It's factually correct as far as I know, Matty.
Yes.
What people will be wondering, and I've certainly had a message along these lines already myself today, is what happens at 90 minutes if it's level. I think a lot of people would like to see golden goal and penalties. Tom Lees is skipper, and he lines up with the officials and Preston skipper for the day, Al Brown. And if you missed the team news earlier, Mark Fotheringham has freshened things up, to say the least. He's made 6 changes since Sunday's selection against Luton in the Championship, and 4 of those changes involve first starts for Town for various reasons and at various stages of their career. Nick Bilokovic is the keeper, the young Australian starting for Town for the first time. Funnily enough, this time last year he came on as a sub in the FA Cup at Burnley in Town's memorable win when Ryan Schofield got injured. But today he starts in goal. Matt Lowton, who's arrived this week on loan from Burnley, he starts down the right hand side of a midfield 4. Loic Aina, the young Frenchman, will play on the left of the back 3, and Tyrese Simpson gets his first start as well, wearing 27.
They tried to keep the twosome of Kesler-Hayden and Rodoni together by the looks of it as well. Rodoni now playing on the left, whereas he's been really good on the right hand side as the two, so obviously they see those two as a decent partnership together.
Good spot, Matty. Huddersfield Town are going to kick us off, defending the Shankly Cop end to our left, attacking the Town end here at Deepdale in Preston to our right. Huddersfield Town in the pink away strip with the white bottom half of the front of the jersey. Mikael Helik receives the pushback kick-off and punts it upfield. It's headed out of play by Bambo Diaby down the right side of Preston's defence. Town with Bilokovic in goal, Lees, Helik, Aina across the back 3, Lowton, Kasumu, Kamara and Kesler-Hayden on the left-hand side. Thomas recalled with Simpson and Rodoni at the front end of the team. Preston North End's keeper, Freddie Woodman, in blue today. Bowls it out. Ledson gives it to Hughes. Lindsay and Hughes exchange short passes down the left-hand side. The closing down done by Sorba Thomas of Huddersfield Town, and Hughes releases it downfield for Mikey O'Neill to chase, but Tom Lees, skipper for Huddersfield Town today, clears. The Spaniard Fernandez releases Daniel Johnson, who'll have a dribble all day long. He checks his run in front of Matt Lowton, who's on Huddersfield Town debut, lays it off towards Fernandez, whose cross is sent away from midfield with help by Kamara. Monitoring done by Rodoni. Back come Preston. The aggressive challenge of Bambo Diaby is applauded by the Preston North End fans. Alan Brown, he'll be chief distributor today with the captain's armband, squares it along the halfway line, and Andrew Hughes, not the Huddersfield Town former coach, who's now coaching at Norwich under David Wagner, of course. Andrew Hughes sets Preston's possession in motion across to the right hand side. Brown sends it back to the keeper Woodman, and Ledson slides it into the path of Al Brown. The Irishman sends it upfield. Aina intercepts, but he lost his orientation a little bit, and that's not helped Kasumu recover possession. Preston build now down the left hand side with Fernandez. Fernandez finds Johnson. His back heel first touch into the box was an attempted connection with Fernandez, but Matt Lowton's seen that all his career long, and he puts it out of play.
I think he's wanting his goalkeeper to come then. He's having a little chat, but as I've said before, if Bilokovic decides it's not for him, just deal with it.
Kane Kesler-Hayden deals with a floated cross from Ledson's right boot, challenging for it at the back. Brown and Woodburn couldn't get near it, and Huddersfield Town have shunted it out of play on the far side.
Very, very, very rigid, very methodical Huddersfield Town at this moment in time. That 5 at the back there, the 2 midfielders in front. Thomas not really wanting to get involved too much, just doing his holding job.
Halick nods the ball down. Kamara doesn't get there quick enough, and the ball's recovered by Preston's white shirts, attacking from right to left. Johnson's threaded pass in towards the edge of the penalty area is not controlled by Woodburn, thanks to the attentions of David Kasumu of Huddersfield Town, who progressed to the 5th round last season, that defeat on a Monday night at Nottingham Forest. And if Nick Bilokovic leaves it that long to clear his lines, I don't think Town will get that far this season, because he was almost pocket picked by the charging down Preston player Woodburn in front of him. He's cleared his lines though, and Preston have put it out of play on this near side, the Huddersfield Town right. Matt Lowton throws short. His old Sheffield United teammate Ched Evans is not in the Preston lineup today, and Lowton's playing down the right of Huddersfield Town's midfield 4. Preston recover possession. Huddersfield Town a little tentative with the ball so far, Matty.
Yeah, that's to say, not particularly any sort of pace at all. No rush to actually. Oh, Simpson there, really good on the goalkeeper. We just talked about Bilokovic taking his time, but Woodman took even longer, then chuck a little trick in there. Never like to see that as a goalkeeper at times. A little Cruyff turn, got away with it though. Good work from Simpson closing down, but just nipping slightly back to Bilokovic, and we know the overplaying at times. Even Nichols himself is guilty of it. Is he going to be a strong enough character as a young lad coming in to say, no, you're not on, you're not having it, we're going forward, and talking to his senior players.
Preston 0, Huddersfield Town 0 on BBC Radio Leeds. FA Cup 3rd round action. Leeds United at Cardiff tomorrow. Full coverage on BBC Radio Leeds for that 2 o'clock kickoff. Preston in possession. The diagonal doesn't work from Ledson though. He's hit it too straight, and Lowton controls it nicely, nips it back to Bilokovic in the sunshine away to our left. And Huddersfield Town's Australian keeper on his first start for his team clears to halfway. Andrew Hughes collects it, no trouble for Preston though. And the delivery out from the back by Huddersfield Town is not satisfactory so far, I'm afraid. Lindsay, midway inside his own half of the white shirts of Preston North End, who've lost at West Brom and won at Stoke since these two teams met in the Championship on Boxing Day. Diaby lays the ball off for McCann, who came on as a sub here in the Championship match. He's dispossessed by Kamara's tackle, and now through the lines, Sober Thomas finds Tyrese Simpson. Simpson loses control with his first touch and then nudges Diaby over in his attempted recovery.
Yeah, just unfortunately Simpson there didn't quite have a look over his left shoulder. You can see what he's trying to do. Thought he was going to come inside, maybe have a shot with his right, but he tries to let it run across his body. But to be fair, the Preston defender just comes into the back of him, makes a decent challenge.
Alvaro Fernandez, the Spaniard on loan from Manchester United, playing a little more centrally to receive that pass. Worked it out to the left-hand side, but it's come back in for Ledson to find Diaby. And Preston are quite happy to sit in possession and find Hughes, who takes on Sober Thomas. Perhaps is surprised by Sober Thomas's chasing pace. Preston keep it on this near side there left. 0-0 after 7 minutes or so of this cup time. Fernandez cautious in possession, won't give it away if he can avoid losing possession. It goes back to the back 3. Diaby works it up the right side to McCann, who's in space, and now Daniel Johnson tees the ball onto his left foot, walks it into Huddersfield Town territory. Brown finds Woodburn, who skips away from Jack Radoni of Huddersfield Town, and then lays it into the centre circle and the waiting Andrew Hughes. Preston free with their delivery from side to side, not penetrating so far, with Huddersfield Town quite conservatively pulling men behind the ball.
Yeah, I was going to say, the Town out in a massive rush to let anyone come out. Radoni's just made a bit of a half run out to close down there, but they're just happy to contain Preston at this moment in time, which, to be fair, away performance, you're going to try and get your foot on the ball a couple of times first before you start putting your impression on the game.
Jack Radoni was done by Daniel Johnson, and then Tyrese Simpson committed an obvious foul, which was waved on as advantage by referee Backhouse. And I think the Preston player in question has probably got a mark on his sock from that challenge. Preston worked the ball patiently infield from the left touchline again. A loosish pass from Liam Lindsay is fetched by Bambo Diaby. And then Loic Aina, the Frenchman for Huddersfield Town, rushes up to intercept. There's a foul by Huddersfield on the far side, and a free kick's awarded to Preston North End. No score. Preston dominating possession without penetrating. Ledson hits the deck after, I think, being stood on by the boot of Tyrese Simpson.
Oh, but he's made a recovery. And he's on
and
again.
He's back on his feet. And then Simpson just nudges him in the back of the knee. Ledson appeals.
Well, you can tell he doesn't wash his own kit, can't you? The amount of time he's spending on the floor already. I think Simpson obviously just nudged him a little bit, but he's gone down. But amazingly made a recovery when the ball was going into his position. And down he goes again. The referee just needs to be careful he's not giving everything. Let's not forget, it's new rules out there now. Every time you hit the floor, you don't have to give a free kick. May have got a new whistle for Christmas, you never know, wants to use plenty of it. But he's going to really ruin a game that needs a lift anyway. He could make it even worse than it already is.
Mikey O'Neill wins a free kick for Preston North End down their left-hand side after a neat combination, one-touch passes from 3 different Preston players. Ledson still moaning at the referee about Tyrese Simpson's interventions off the ball. Ledson must be used to it in the Preston midfield.
You've got your free kick, you're not going to get any more. There's no yellows being dished out for somebody poking you in the back.
Daniel Johnson and Ryan Ledson stand over the ball. It's about 5 yards, maybe less infield from the left touchline. And Ledson holds the ball as if he's going to punt it rugby style. He places it on the ground and leaves it for Johnson to send in low, curving. A flick by Brown comes off a Huddersfield Town defender and will bobble out for a corner on this near side. They got something from it, Preston, but I don't think it worked quite as they'd rehearsed on the training ground.
No, it was a little bit obvious what they were going to do there. Just put the ball down and he's going to put it straight into play. Just didn't quite get hold of it enough. Decent bit of defending there, good positions.
Referee Backhouse has lost his patience with somebody, and he's prevented Alan Brown from taking this corner on this near left-hand side.
I know what you feel.
Preston. Mikey O'Neill and Sorba Thomas just having a tussle, and I think he's just going to nip it in the bud now before this escalates. It's hardly been a dirty opening to the game.
No, not at all.
First corner coming from Preston's left-hand side. Right-footed, their skipper on the day, Alan Brown, will deliver it in the sunshine of Deepdale. Brown delivers, flattish. Blokovic comes and punches inside his own 6-yard box, probably the correct decision. Back come Preston with the second ball, floated down the right from Fernandez's left foot. McCann holds it, then Woodburn crosses. It's going to reach Brown, the original corner taker, on this near side of Preston left. But the challenge from Matt Loughton interrupts his attempted cross though, and Town clear. But Kane Kessler-Hayden loses possession. Brown distributes again into the box, and Blokovic is right behind it. He anticipated that cross well. 0-0.
Yeah, the cross coming in. He had players around him, bit too low, bit too far away from him to get decent hands on. Got good.
Jack Radoni caught in possession by Woodburn, who attacks the penalty area. His square ball into the boxes behind Alan Brown and too far in front of Daniel Johnson though, and Preston can't make anything of it. But Huddersfield Town's much changed lineup is definitely struggling with its distribution from deep inside their own half. Sorba Thomas from halfway can release Tyrese Simpson. He controls well the bobbly ball, brings it down, combines with Kane Kessler-Hayden, bumps off Alan Brown in taking the return pass, and doesn't win the corner that he was trying to win. He fell heavily onto the turf in the shadows on the far side at the Town end at Deepdale, and it's a goal kick to the home side. 0-0 between Preston North End and Huddersfield Town after 12 minutes or so of the cup time.
Yeah, some decent running from Simpson there, getting to a good area, as you say, just bobbing around a little bit, couldn't quite get control of the ball. I think he's had a little go for a free kick, thinking the referee's been so generous today, I might as well hit the floor, but he's given him nothing, which is a bit of a shame because he got himself into a decent position.
Freddie Woodman, the Preston keeper, surprised his own defensive teammate Liam Lindsay there with a clipped square ball to the left edge of the penalty area, and Lindsay's got to go and fetch it. Preston recover their positions. Bamba Diaby lays it back towards keeper Woodman, but his drive downfield comes back from halfway, and Kamara's touch to release Kasumu. Kasumu looks up to see Tyrese Simpson in a good position down the left hand side, and then to the byline. Simpson drills it in towards the near post, and it's blocked by Diaby for a corner to Huddersfield Town. Nice improvisation when he was isolated by Tyrese Simpson.
Yeah, just a drop of the shoulder, gets himself that half a yard, drills it across the 6-yard box. Unfortunately not finding a Town player, but they get a corner from it. Let's see if Thomas's distribution is on point today.
Sorba Thomas spots up Huddersfield Town's first corner, which is coming from the far side, the Town left. It'll be a right-footed delivery. Daniel Johnson's watching Kane Kesler-Hayden close by. Thomas goes into the box with his delivery. Haylick misses it, it's sent away, and then there's a foul, possibly on the edge of the box by Kasumu.
No, I think he's given something around the 6-yard box, but going back to the cross, wonderful ball from Thomas into the box. Haylick just seemed to mistime his jump in the air. It seemed to go in towards him. He's just not managed to get anywhere near it, but that was a good start from Thomas.
Diaby slides the pass back towards Freddie Woodman in the Preston penalty area away to our right, and Preston's keeper drifts it, floating through the air. It's caught by what is a stiffish breeze here in Lancashire this Saturday lunchtime. Kamara brings it away, but runs into heavy traffic full of white shirts. Woodburn is the man to bring it away, and Woodburn's fouled by David Kasumu.
I think the foul on Kamara was probably the cleanest foul of the day, actually. There are 3 players around him, referee doesn't give it. But regardless of that, you've got to let go of the ball quicker. You can see you run into traffic, try and find a teammate, pop it off.
Preston's free kick is a good way right of centre, about 12 yards inside Huddersfield Town's half. And Ledson, hands on hips, stands over it in that inside right position, with the managers and technical benches over his right shoulder. Or will he leave it for Daniel Johnson, who likes a free kick? Left footed. The Jamaican delivers to the edge of the box. It dipped probably too early for Preston's taste, and Al Brown is successfully challenged by Kasumu and Co in front of the penalty area. Ball's hooked out of play by Huddersfield Town player, and Hughes throws backwards.
I think they've got quite a strong sun in their eyes. Looking there, Simpson, he's got his clearance all kinds of wrong, but I don't think he could see the ball when it was up in the air.
And neither could Loic Aina as it comes down from the right hand side. It falls for Johnson, who's on his own in space on the right edge of the box. Onto his left foot, he tees it. He feeds Ledson, who drills it. It's saved one-handed by Bilokovic, and I think he got a deflection on the way through. That was a really good save.
Really good save, yeah. Big deflection on it. Gets a strong palm on it. Gets a decent, and he's got his defenders following up, which is important as well, making sure Preston were nowhere near it. Really good save.
That'll do his confidence no end of good on his first start.
And that's why you need someone like Leeds and your Lowtons in your defence to follow up any sort of strike that goes in the box.
Alan Brown jinks infield past Loic Aina, the Huddersfield Town central defender, on his senior debut for the Terriers. Huddersfield Town's defensive midfield blocked the gaps though and forced Preston backwards to start again at halfway, and the aggression of the press from Sorba Thomas, beckoning his teammates to come behind him, is sufficient to cause Hughes to send the pass all the way back to his keeper Woodman. His clearance is touched by a Huddersfield Town player on the far side. I think it was Kane Kesler-Hayden, and after 16.5 minutes Preston get a throw.
I think that's the first time I've heard the Preston crowd having a bit of a grizzle there. It goes back to the goalkeeper. I don't think it was a massive mistake by the defender to go back, but they are here.
Preston's possession comes loose, and the ball's with Tyrese Simpson suddenly inside the Preston half. He waits for Jack Radoni to appear on his left shoulder. Radoni sprints after it. Al Brown reads it well for Preston and keeps Radoni near the corner flag, limiting his crossing options. And for that reason, though Radoni gets his delivery off, it falls to a Preston player. Preston build down the right-hand side. Loic Aina mistimes his challenge and upends Ben Woodburn. Free kick for Preston. In the Championship, that probably would have been a yellow card. I wonder if the young Frenchman will be treated with a little bit more leniency by referee Backhouse. Or maybe not.
No. To be fair, he's been late a couple of times, late to the challenge, got himself in a couple of tangles.
Yellow card for Aina. Referee wants the free kick taken again because he was still chatting to Kane Kessler-Hayden. Rodoni and Aina, who were told tongue-in-cheek by head coach Mark Fotheringham, has already got a reputation in training sessions for kicking his teammates occasionally.
Well, he's carried it on match day.
Yellow card for Loic Aina. Preston North End 0, Huddersfield Town 0 in the FA Cup third round after 18 minutes nearly. Hughes is forced to make the square pass by Sorba Thomas's industry off the ball. Excellent work site, Tyree Simpson in the same way, forces the error from Lindsay. And Lindsay's square pass, aimed in the very broadest sense towards Bambo Diaby, has gone out of play on the far side for a Huddersfield Town throw-in, just inside Preston's half. Excellent press, ×2.
It is. This game needs to really step up. I need a bit of action, need someone to get something.
Kasumu's touch for Kessler-Hayden to run down the left touchline. Preston bite in their tackles. Alan Brown, McCann interrupt Huddersfield Town's movement forward, but it's the Yorkshire side who pick it up on the halfway line. Fernandez forces Matt Loughton back with the pass towards Tom Lees, and now Haylick, in that strip of sunlit pitch here at Deepdale, plays it out to the left hand side, and Loic Aina, whose time on the ball has been limited, but that's a stylish pass across the park towards Tom Lees. Preston North End 0, Huddersfield Town 0 on BBC Radio Leeds. Sorba Thomas is dragged by the shirt. Hughes, right touch tight on him, was trying not to foul him, but he got a lot of thigh, hip, and then a bit of shirt dragging on his opponent, and Sorba Thomas hit the deck. Free kick taken. And then possession lost down the left hand side by Jack Rodoni's attempted back heel for Kane Kessler-Hayden, which didn't work. The white shirts of Preston pick it up, but the pass out of defence is loose. Here's Jack Rodoni to find a stumbling Kane Kessler-Hayden, and he falls over the ball, which then runs underneath his legs and all the way through for Freddie Woodman to pick up. Yeah,
that was a shame. A decent first touch there, and he's on his favoured right. Could have got something off. He's got to just keep going there, because Lindsay in the centre of that defence is being... He's carried on with the Christmas spirit, let's say that as well, putting the ball out of play, giving possession back to Town. They're going to need to recognise that, especially Simpson needs to be sat right on top of him. Any sort of mistake.
Ledson's first touch back towards Hughes allows Preston to start from halfway again. They walk it across to this near side from Lindsay's pass for Hughes, and now Fernandez. Shoulder length there, flapping behind him as he takes on Kamara and Loughton. But the recovery, led by David Kasumu, disrupts Preston's attack, and Huddersfield Town have it again in their own penalty area now with Michael Haylick. A Barnsley player last season when Barnsley were knocked out of the FA Cup in the pouring rain, thanks to Dwayne Holmes' goal. Haylick works it up the left side. Simpson slips and slides on the turf. He's still got his pass off towards Kane Kessler-Hayden, but it's come back from Preston's challenge by Brown. And now the dangerous Daniel Johnson is tackled by Tom Lees, who read the situation well, committed upfield from his centre-back position, and had to make the tackle once he'd done that because there was a big gap of space behind him as a result. Preston flip it over the top from Fernandez. Loic Aina impressively jumps to beat Daniel Johnson in the air, and near his byline Tom Lees steers the ball up towards halfway, where it's recovered by Lindsay. Sorba Thomas thinks he was held there.
Well, no, he's having a chat to Simpson saying, come on, you need to be closer. I think he was upset that he's tried to make a running behind when the ball wasn't there to running behind. He should be a little bit closer to him, working together as a little team on this side when the ball's over on the right. He's just saying to him, come on, I need a little bit of an open hand there. I've held off the player. The ball's gone through and you're a million miles away.
Preston North End 0, Huddersfield Town 0 in the FA Cup third round. One genuine chance on goal, which was the shot as he arrived in the penalty area from Ryan Ledson's right foot. Well saved by Nick Bilokovic. I think it did get a deflection. Was that your instinct as well?
Yeah, definitely deflection. Yeah, really good save. So a little bounce on there as well. Good strong wrist. And saying good experienced defending, following in anything just to clear the ball.
Highlights of all the FA Cup third round ties will appear on the BBC Sport website if you don't catch BBC One's long highlights programmes tonight and tomorrow night. Highlights may be short so far from this contest, but Preston attack. Fernandez is square ball, plenty of options for him to pick out. Here's Alan Brown's left-footed shot over the bar. And Bilokovic looked very comfortable with the flight of that, having decided early on in its flight that it was going over.
Or he couldn't see it because of the sunlight there, really bright in his eyes. That's the last thing you want to do when you're on your debut, to have that. And Fernandez just showing his class again with that little 1-2 down the left-hand side. Decent ball into the box.
Might be a bit of competition for which games last on Match of the Day, actually, tonight. Not many goals so far in the 12:30 kickoffs. Only one goal, Crystal Palace leading Southampton in the All Premier League affair by a 1-0. Gillingham, Leicester City 0, Preston North End, Huddersfield Town 0, Reading 0, Watford 0, Tottenham 0, Portsmouth 0. Forest Green Rovers against Birmingham City was postponed due to a waterlogged pitch.
And to match the mood described excellently by Johnny Buchan as usual, Nick Bilokovic's goal kick is sliced out of play. And there's your breaking news, ladies and gentlemen, on BBC Radio Leeds. Johnny Buchan is awake.
Thing is as well, what's making it worse? Freddie Woodman at the back there. You can ask yourself the question, if this was a championship match, would he be quite as calm and quite taking as many risks and be as poor with his shot selection out from the back? The answer is no. And that also goes through, we talked about earlier on there, who was it, we're talking about Lindsay there as well, just being very sloppy, very over casual at the back. If this is a championship game, that won't be happening. They seem to be taking it a little bit too easy, and that's adding to the lack of quality.
Or if the competition was seeded and they were playing a really big team, Matty.
No, it'd still be awful.
Or a really small team.
Or a really small team, yeah.
Oh, let's just leave as it is and let's move on to the game, please. Thank you very much.
And Preston had the ball after Matt Lowton was caught in possession by the aggression of Alvaro Fernandez's tackle down the left-hand side for Preston. Preston ship it across the park to Bambo Diaby. Diaby travels forward to halfway, jags the pass forward for Ali McCann. McCann finds Brown, but Kasumu's aggression in midfield has been useful to disrupt Preston's attack so far in the 25 minutes that we've seen. Rodoni's ball over the top is too long for Tyrese Simpson. Freddie Woodman comes out of his penalty area just to meet it early and find Andrew Hughes. Hughes switches with a diagonal, good one as well this, onto the chest of Woodburn, who lays it off. And now Preston, via Brown's switch to the left-hand side, come through Hughes and Fernandez outside the left edge of the penalty area. He lifts the ball between Lowton and Thomas and kind of hurdles one of their legs and drops to the deck. The referee says foul and free kick. It was quite a spectacular fall by Fernandez, and it's a free kick to Preston North End just outside the edge of the Huddersfield penalty area. Yeah,
you can see what Thomas thinks of it as well. And he's right. He's tried to force his way through two players that aren't going anywhere. Hits the ground after a couple of seconds, and they've got a free kick in a dangerous position. It is one of my most frustrating things when referees get played. It really is. I know we're a bit further away, but we are quite close to that decision there. And you can see exactly what's happened, the theatrics and what he's tried to do, and a referee at this level should recognise that.
Alvaro Fernandez's run has won Preston's free kick just outside the edge of the penalty area. Sober Thomas makes a token gesture of a wall, all on his own. Lets someone strike it for Preston. He's gone straight into the edge of the 6-yard box, and Tyrese Simpson is there to head it away for Huddersfield Town. Preston's throwing, taken quickly by Ledson, the free kick taker. Brown pops up on the left-hand side, watched closely by Matt Lowton on his Huddersfield Town debut. Preston are allowed possession from just inside Town's half. Short pass by Fernandez. Ledson threads it through to Mikey O'Neill, who's in a lot of space, worryingly so from Huddersfield's point of view, but then he's crowded out by the recovering Kessler Hayden and Thomas. But Preston just switch it right. Johnson's cross to the near post, all the way across and out for a goal kick. Nobody could get a connection for the home side.
Not like a chance, like a chance. To be fair, Town were getting good numbers towards the Preston players when they were trying to get shots on the edge of that box. But just as the winger comes inside there, I don't think he gets close enough. Yep, we don't allow him to go down the outside and get the cross in, but that was dangerous towards that far post. I think a bit more than luck than skill. The fact that's not ended up in the back of the net.
Loikaina decides against working it upfield with a straight pass towards his compatriot Etienne Kamara. Instead goes backwards to Bilokovic, whose clearance is collected swiftly by Preston on the halfway line. Ledson, an influential figure in the pattern of the game so far here at Deepdale, works it right. Brown's knock over the top, and Woodburn has stayed onside as he collects the ball near the byline. Into the box he comes, but it's a scruffy pass to connect with Daniel Johnson, nicely pounced on by Etienne Kamara of Huddersfield Town to jag it out of play and to safety.
Yeah, again, really good numbers from Town, getting back in there after staying onside. Really good run, you've got to say, and to keep the ball in. But Town just made sure he had no options at all in the middle of that box.
Interesting dilemma, well dealt with by Mikael Halek as he headed away, and Jack Radoni has worked the ball up the field. Simpson's first touch looked potentially very promising, but he was out sprinted quickly by Hughes on the far side of the Preston defence, and there was no chance after all.
Yeah, just a really good turn. Used his technique there just to turn on the ball, take out the centre half, but just couldn't get going quick enough to get there. Good covering from the defender.
But it all started off with Mikael Halek deciding, and rightly I think, to head the ball away when Mikey O'Neill was lurking as he entered the penalty area. The temptation resisted to leave it for Bilokovic or even glance it back to him and put too much pace on the ball.
If you're not sure, and especially say, I mentioned a couple of times when you can't see the ball very well, when you look up and the sun's right there. So any kind of weather you can deal with, but when you can't see the ball, it's not great.
In the 30th minute of the FA Cup third round tie here at Deepdale, Preston North End 0, Huddersfield Town 0. Kane Kesler-Hayden gets himself in a cul-de-sac, has to clear from deep on his left with his right foot. McCann supplies Fernandez, and Fernandez fires over the bar from the edge of the penalty area, and they rather wasted that opportunity to pounce on the clearing mistake by Huddersfield Town.
Well, I've got to say, we talked about Kesler-Hayden having a go on the left. Not working, is it? Let's be honest, he's not having the same impact that he's had last couple of games. Crosses into the box, getting up and down, making sure defenders have a lot to deal with, to think about. Can't remember really speaking his name in the final third in this first 30 minutes.
And he clears right-footed again when he's pinned on his own left touchline on that far side. Loosely towards Sober Thomas, but Preston are aggressive in the challenges on the Wales international, and the white shirts of the home side pick it up. With Lindsay and Hughes combining, McCann popping up on this left-hand side. Johnson on the right now of the attacking bank of midfielders for Preston North End, who are forced backwards into their own half. Thomas and Simpson pressing on Lindsay and Hughes. Lindsay, safety first, works it back to Freddie Woodman. And the ball's lifted long now after it was returned to him by Woodman. Johnson leaves it for Woodburn at the front end for Preston North End. Early run towards the right edge of the box by Alan Brown. Nicely read by Loikaina. That's a very clean block tackle to stop his opponent from getting in behind at the byline. Yes. And the high fives and low fives that are going for the young Frenchman at the back for Huddersfield Town are deserving.
They are, but only because of his recovery. It was his header that was missed in the first place. He's got underneath the long clearance going forward. Allowed Preston to go through, but to be fair to him, he's turned, he's sprinted, he's got back, put the hard work in and put a really good challenge.
A corner for Preston North End. From their right flank, Daniel Johnson carefully, precisely spots the ball up, makes a signal to his teammates clustered in the penalty area. Left-footed, flat towards the near post, and it's caught in front of his face by Bilokovic. No trouble.
Again, awkward one, going through bodies there, coming towards chest height. Deals with it very well, and a good ball out as well to get Loughton out on the attack.
Matt Loughton's too straight with that delivery downfield for Tyrese Simpson, who wasn't going to sprint after it anyway, I don't think, and have any chance of reaching it, but Loughton sliced it off the top of his boot. Yeah, and apologises to his teammates.
As he should. Probably goes down as Town's first shot on target in this first half. But good goalkeeping. Attacks that near post from a decent ball in So gets his team on the attack, which unfortunately the ball forward is too sloppy.
McCann touches the ball off to Fernandez down the Preston left on this near side of the Deepdale pitch, which is, I'd say, 4/5 covered in shadow now with the sun dropping early. Diaby, I beg your pardon, down the right for Johnson. Then he gets it back to the central defender. I'm not sure he meant the delivery across the park again to the left to be so straight, but he's found Hughes, who combines with Fernandez. McCann works it off to Hughes, who's been happy to attack so far in the 33 minutes we've seen. Letson crosses into the penalty area right-footed. It's too high for O'Neill. Nipping in behind, unsuccessfully, was Alan Brown, the skipper, and the ball's taken one bounce by Bilokovic, the Huddersfield Town keeper.
Yeah, I'd like to think there was a massive big shout from the goalkeeper there, because Ian has just ducked. And if that is the case, then good goalkeeping and well left by the defender, because it worked out.
And it stays Preston North End 0, Huddersfield Town 0 in this medium to slow paced FA Cup third round tie. I think the intensity will be a lot higher when Huddersfield Town this time next week prepare to visit Hull City in the Championship. Here at Deepdale, David Wagner will bring his Norwich City team for what will be his first game in the Championship in charge of his new side. Hughes chips the ball forward to the edge of the Huddersfield Town penalty area. O'Neill is beaten to it by Aina of Huddersfield Town. Kamara works it off towards Sorba Thomas. A neat 1-2 with Kasumu, and Thomas hears the shout of Kane Kessler-Hayden and floats a beautiful switch square ball across to the Huddersfield Town left-hand side. But it's a question of what you're doing with the ball, having made that space an opportunity to attack. And I'm afraid Preston have recovered their defensive midfield positions to such an extent that Huddersfield Town have gone backwards with a short pass along the ground, and the momentum was lost as soon as it was created. It's at walking pace as Aina finds Kessler-Hayden. Kessler-Hayden finds Haylick, who's got to bring down the floated chip pass quickly before he's converged on by Preston players led by Ben Woodburn. But then Aina's pass almost sat up on the turf before it was reached by Bilokovic and cleared first time. The ball has dropped kindly for Sorba Thomas off a defensive challenge inside Preston territory, and now he lays it off for Tyrese Simpson to bring in Kane Kessler-Hayden down the left hand side. Sorba Thomas switches flanks briefly to the left hand side and takes on Diaby, crosses right footed. Town are going to have to reach for it. Radoni finds Simpson, whose shot is on the top of the bar and wide from distance, and that's comfortably Huddersfield Town's first genuine chance on goal.
It is decent work from Thomas though on that left hand side to get a decent ball in there. Again, I think Simpson got a little shot from Radoni just to leave it, set each other up, and he's not got any sort of power. I don't know if he has tried to lob it towards that right hand top corner, but as you say, it's the best chance Town have really mustered in this first half.
Woodman takes his time about the drive of the goal kick, which floats through the air from right to left. It's well met by Diaby, flicking it on towards Woodburn's run, and Loic Aina has upended Woodburn on the chase.
He's on his last chance already again. We haven't got to half time yet.
Referee's going to invite Huddersfield Town's young French defender over for a cautionary chat, or could it be worse, because Aina has seen a yellow card already this afternoon so far, and referee Backhouse now perhaps has to wrestle with his own conscience about how
Let's into the referee's face again.
He deals with disciplining Loic Aina of Huddersfield Town. You've had that one and that one, he says. He's pointing, explaining, and I think this is last chance for Loic Aina.
I'd be surprised if he made it out at if he makes it to half time. I'd be surprised if he comes out for the second half, because he's one clumsy challenge away. Again, you've talked about the fact in training he causes a bit of damage. Obviously he's not quite learnt yet. On match day you've got to be careful. If you can't get there, just stay on your feet, try and do something to stop the player who you're against beating you. but you can't persistently foul. This isn't the B team, this isn't kiddies football, this is important stuff, this is first team football.
It's
He's
no
really
coincidence.
lucky there, isn't he?
Yeah.
He's really lucky
Oh,
there.
Yeah.
That's a very sympathetic view taken by referee Backhouse, I think, to not show a second yellow card for Loic Aina. I don't think it's a coincidence that Will Boyle has suddenly appeared from the Huddersfield Town bench on the far side. And before Preston take their free kick, Loic Aina is going to be substituted and replaced by Will Boyle. With their tongues in their cheeks, the Preston fans boo. Loic Aina makes his way off the pitch, after all substituted. Sympathetic applause from the Huddersfield Town fans here at Deepdale. And Will Boyle is going to get an early involvement in this FA Cup third round tie after all.
Yeah, it's a little bit on the cruel side, but they've got to, because he is one misstep away from putting Huddersfield down to 10 men and making this game even worse than it already is.
Preston's free kick coming from the right side. Letson delivers, flattish delivery. It's missed in the air by Hughes. It'll drop to McCann, who mistimes his scuffed shot. And Huddersfield Town block it as it skids across the penalty area. Fernandez delivers from deep across the park. Johnson's not going to keep that in play. It's a throw into Huddersfield Town, who'll be relieved at how they defended the second ball. Preston North End 0, Huddersfield Town 0, and Loic Aina's senior debut for Huddersfield Town didn't last long.
No, it didn't, and it's a shame, but it's like, say, a bit of fun. Evan Silver does this in training and all that sort of stuff, but then when it's brought onto a first team match, it's no longer funny and no longer amusing, and the team are suffering from it. He needs to learn quickly, otherwise he's going to find himself just a bit part player, because he can't be trusted to stay on a pitch. And it's a shame as well, because he done some good things in there as well. He put some good headers in there, some good challenges, done some good running, but he ruins it all, as I say, by making bad decisions.
Some lovely clean aggression from Etienne Kamara stops Preston in their tracks, and the net result is a throw into Huddersfield Town midway inside the Preston half on the far side, the Town left. Tyrese Simpson runs the ball out of play though after the short delivery to him from Kane Kessler-Hayden. Diaby effective down the Preston right side of defence. They're playing a back three as well. He's having a really good first half on his recall to the first team. It's a Preston throw as a product of his work on Tyrese Simpson. Alan Brown will take the Preston throw-in. Surprises everybody by throwing it straight infield to his keeper, which is a good idea to bring the ball into open play and stop it all being trapped in that pocket of the field on the far side. Preston work it up the left touchline, mind you. Hughes sees his clipped pass come back from the head of Tom Lees. Ali McCann picks it up and finds Daniel Johnson standing good midway inside the Huddersfield Town half. Johnson lets the ball roll away from him before he decides what to do with it, which is a short pass for Fernandez. Nice defending Jack Radoni to stop the first time cross from the boot of Andrew Hughes, and it's a throw into Preston that results. Radoni sensed the danger of that cross.
And he's hurt himself now. I think he's going to go down, Radoni, as well. Looks like his hamstring. He's just caught his hamstring. If he's not going to go down, then hopefully he's all right to carry on. He is. He's come over to this right hand side now as well, swap with Thomas. I think it's the right decision.
Fernandez's threaded pass along the ground is nowhere near any Preston teammate with a realistic chance of getting there. Mikey O'Neill, perhaps the best candidate, and it's Bilokovic who picks it up for Huddersfield Town, bowling it out. Eventually on the left hand side it reaches Kane Kessler-Hayden, but Preston intercept his attempted pass and the white shirts of the Lancashire team pick it up. Preston having knocked Huddersfield Town out of the League Cup early this season with an emphatic 4-1 win at the John Smith Stadium. Came back to win 1-0 in the Championship thanks to Greg Cunningham's header. Here, Huddersfield got a bit back for Yorkshire by winning on Boxing Day in the Championship. And now Preston have their pocket picked on the halfway line. Thomas launches the counter-attack. Haylick, the central defender, is up with the attack to cross from the left-hand side, but it's cleared by Lindsay. And Huddersfield Town, when they've had an opportunity to counter, have just been lacking pace in the delivery. There's no venom as they approach the penalty area.
Well, usually that happens when your centre half, with his wrong foot, is crossing the ball into the 18-yard box. But the thing is, it's good that they actually want to get involved, go forward, because even though Thomas probably made the wrong decision, Haylick is, you know, affecting the game by bringing players out the way, and he's giving Thomas that extra bit of leeway to say, go on, you go and take that man. You've only got one man to beat now. Go and do it. Don't give it me on my wrong foot to cross into the box. You go and do something with it.
Will Boyle with a nice trademark header, cushioning it down constructively. And now Sober Thomas raged down the left-hand side. He needs help, can't find Kasumu with his delivery in field. Preston clear and now start a counter-attack of their own with Daniel Johnson. Fernandez loose with his passing for the second time in recent memory against Huddersfield Town. Hits Tom Lees and Huddersfield Town pick it up. Simpson, an attempted flick around the outside of Lindsay doesn't work. And Preston pick it up with Ledson leaving it for McCann. Fernandez hits a pocket of space down the left-hand side. Midway inside the Huddersfield half, he strokes it in field. Ledson finds Woodburn, who's dropped outside the penalty area to link with the midfield. Alan Brown, playing as a right winger really today at times, finds Diaby, but they're crowded out from the penalty area by Huddersfield Town's nicely positioned defenders, amongst whom Sober Thomas helps out Kasumu and Kesler Hayden. But Diaby is forced backwards even further by Thomas. Lindsay finds Hughes, Radoni doing some closing down, and the game opens up a little bit as space appears between the lines. The defending done by Lowton and Lees together down the right is efficient. The ball's played back to Bilokovic and the Huddersfield Town keeper clears into the Preston half. Preston North End 0, Huddersfield Town 0 on BBC Radio Leeds on FA Cup third round day. This, if he's just realising that it was an early kick-off. It kicked off at 12:30. We're approaching half-time. This is the 44th minute as Preston recover possession and play it back to the keeper, Woodman. Long ball forward, nicely dealt with by Tom Lees. Knew the threat of Mikey O'Neill and smartly played it back to Bilokovic away to our left-hand side. Huddersfield Town have struck the frame of the goal. It was a lobbed shot with no pace on it on the top of the bar from Tyrese Simpson after a knockdown by Jack Radoni. Bilokovic at the other end saving well from Ryan Ledson's deflected shot.
Yeah, I think you can say positive-wise, if they can get to half-time with a clean sheet, you go again in the second half. Obviously, Mark Thornton's got a couple of things to think about going forward in the second half, but when you're away from home, you've changed your team up massively. You know, if you can keep it tight and then do something in the second half, then yeah, it may work. You just got the quality's just got to step up. The pace has got to step up massively. Even if you're going to play at a slower pace, at least find your teammate with you passing more often than not.
Bambo Diaby, one of the few players wearing gloves this afternoon, with a big diagonal switch to the left-hand side, trying to find Daniel Johnson. He's beaten to it by the smart work of Matthew Lowton of Huddersfield Town, who fires it out of play. We're into what will be a single minute of added on time, and it's Preston North End 0, Huddersfield Town 0. Almost level with the left edge of the penalty area that Preston attack. Fernandez throws a looping throw in towards Johnson, who is body checked acceptably so, says the referee, by Tom Lees, and despite Daniel Johnson's hurt look.
Well, you don't run into someone who's 2.5 foot taller than you,
No,
and expect to win the ball. So I don't think there's anything there to complain about.
Will Boyle, authoritative in the air to meet Woodman's clearance. Nod it down towards Kane Kesler Hayden, but Kesler Hayden can't do much with it on his wrong side, and I still contend that he's more naturally a right-footed player. On the left today, the throw-in from Preston comes in, and the referee's seen enough. You could say, haven't we all, but I think that would be rude. I'd rather enjoyed seeing some of the players from Huddersfield Town's point of view that we don't often get a chance to see, but one of them will probably want to forget his senior Huddersfield Town debut, Loic Aina, the young Frenchman. Stylish on the ball occasionally, aggressive in the challenges, but late in many others. And having been booked, his last lunge saw him subbed for his own disciplinary safety. Will Boyle on since that point, and he troops in to the half-time dressing room with the rest of his teammates, with the scores at 0-0. One genuinely big chance at either end. Bilokovic saving well from Ledson. And at the other, Tyrese Simpson has been kept quiet so far, largely did find some space to connect with Jack Radoni's knockdown, but his weak lob shot kind of dollied onto the top of the bar and went for a goal kick. It's been medium paced, and the half-time scoreline reflects what we've seen, because it stands Preston North End 0, Huddersfield Town 0.
I love Oggie's positivity there. We're never getting those 45 minutes back, are we, Matt Glennon?
No, not spectacular. You know, it wasn't just Town. Preston were just as bad, if not even more wasteful, because they had the ball more.
Yeah.
They had the ball, and they're the home team as well. And like I said during the first half, Woodman at the back and other players there, Lindsay, they're playing like it's a friendly, like it's a reserve team game, and it's making the quality look even worse than it already is. So, yes, Town were sloppy at times, and yes, medium pace and offered very little going forward, but they're the away team, wanting to get to half-time. 0-0, a lot of changes. I'll go a little bit positive, like Oggie as well. Second half been very different. My fellas going to have a look now and think, right, yes, I've tried. He's had his debut, not worked out because he's a liability when it comes to a time challenge. Looks athletic, doesn't get around the pitch. You know, he can head a ball, kick a ball, yeah, great, you should be able to. Championship footballer. Decision making, horrendous. Probably makes a very good decision, I think, and I'm not going to wait till half time till he either gets the red or trips someone else over again. I'm going to make the decision. He does that, and Town now regroup at half time. They have a little chat and say, right, fellas, I think Preston are sloppy at the back. I think they're not up for it today. Why don't we step things up and find ourselves in the hat Monday night?
Yeah.
In a well-structured FA Cup as it should stay.
Dean Hoyle, the Huddersfield Town owner, and I say that with a question mark because we aren't 100% sure at the moment in terms of the shares and the likes and where they stand. Certainly he's at bare minimum a minority shareholder, but he's here today away to our left-hand side. He's been sat in the seats alongside us, Oggie.
He'll feel the pressure today, Johnny, for one very big reason. His in-laws are Preston North End supporters.
Ah, there you go. There you go.
Oh, yeah. His father-in-law's been a guest on this programme.
So he's had bragging rights for a week and a half.
I think he's come over here to get a bit of peace and quiet. They'll have been in his ear all day so far, the poor lad.
Probably so. Maybe he should be on a beach in Portugal somewhere. That'd be quite nice, wouldn't it, this time of year? Anyway, half-time then, here in the FA Cup third round. We're heading for a replay because it's Preston North End 0, Huddersfield Town 0.
BBC Radio Leeds.
West Yorkshire Sport.
Live.
Diaby lays the ball off for McCann, who came on as a sub here in the championship match. He's dispossessed by Kamara's tackle, and now through the line, Sober Thomas finds Tyrese Simpson. Simpson loses control with his first touch and then nudges Diaby over in his attempted recovery. And neither could Loic Aina as it comes down from the right-hand side. It falls for Johnson, who's on his own in space on the right edge of the box. Onto his left foot, he tees it. He feeds Ledson, who drills it. It's saved one-handed by Bilokovic, and I think it got a deflection on the way through. That was a really good save. Short pass by Fernandez. Ledson threads it through to Mikey O'Neill, who's in a lot of space, worryingly so from Huddersfield's point of view. But then he's crowded out by the recovering Kessler Hayden and Thomas. But Preston just switch it right. Johnson's cross to the near post, all the way across, and out for a goal kick. Nobody could get a connection for the home side. Ledson, an influential figure in the pattern of the game so far here at Deepdale, works it right. Brown's knock over the top, and Woodburn has stayed onside as he collects the ball near the byline. Into the box he comes, but it's a scruffy pass to connect with Daniel Johnson, nicely pounced on by Etienne Kamara of Huddersfield Town to jag it out of play and to safety. Aina's pass almost sat up on the turf before it was reached by Bilokovic and cleared first time. The ball has dropped kindly for Sober Thomas off a defensive challenge inside Preston territory, and now he lays it off for Tyrese Simpson to bring in Kessler Hayden down the left hand side. Sober Thomas switches flanks briefly to the left hand side and takes on Diaby, crosses right footed. Town are going to have to reach for it. Radoni finds Simpson, whose shot is on the top of the bar and wide from distance, and that's comfortably Huddersfield Town's first genuine chance on goal.
So that's half time then here at Deepdale. Blue skies above us. It's turning into a lovely January day after the heavy rain this morning. Hopefully it is wherever you're listening around the UK as well. Other half time scores then in the early kickoffs in the FA Cup. Crystal Palace 1, Southampton 1, Gillingham 0, Leicester City 0, Reading 1, Watford 0, and Tottenham Hotspur 0, Portsmouth 0. Coming up, we will hear more from the new signing at Huddersfield Town, Matty Lowton.
BBC Radio Leeds.
West Yorkshire Sport.
Live. Breakfast with Rima.
Weekday mornings from 6.
I had one of the most chaotic interviews imaginable with Tom Skinner, who's a former Apprentice Series 15 contestant.
Morning, how are ya?
I'm all right, pal. How are you doing?
I'm on the radio.
You... Is someone interrupting you there?
Yeah, no, someone just put a ticket on my car.
Oh, no.
Traffic warden.
Oh, no.
Someone go and grab that traffic warden.
Someone grab the traffic warden. Tom's speaking to me. This is incredible, Tom.
Breakfast with Rima.
Someone tell the traffic warden it's Thomas Skinner. Bosh, get that off. Chuck it on the floor.
Get that ticket on my car.
Weekdays from 6.
BBC Radio Leeds.
Let's hear then, shall we, from Huddersfield Town's new on-loan fullback Matt Lowton. He's played the opening 45 minutes of this so far 0-0 draw in the FA Cup third round here against Preston. He joined the Terriers' fight until the end of the season from Burnley on loan, and he's been telling us what appealed to him about a move to the John Smith Stadium.
I just need to play football. Everybody knows that footballers, they're only happy when they're playing. It's been a tough start to the season for myself, and said to my agent, I need to get out and play football in January. You run around a few clubs and things like that, and then when the manager rang me from here, and he pretty much sold it to me within a minute. Coming in, intensity and training, hard work, togetherness, which is what pretty much my career has been built on over the last 6-7 years at Burnley. So I'm looking forward to getting back into that mode and helping the team out.
Yeah, you describe it as tough. Has that hurt quite a lot, suddenly finding yourself out the picture at Burnley?
I think it did a little bit, yeah. It's football. It's the way it goes. I've been lucky enough to be involved either first or second choice really for the majority of my career. So it was a bit of a setback, but like I say, it happens, and it was up to me to try and remain focused in training and fitness wise to when January came, that I was ready to hit the ground running, and I'm looking to do that starting tomorrow.
And what conversations have you had with Vincent Kompany? Has he been quite upfront with you about how he sees you at Burnley? What's he said?
Yeah, no, he was quite honest with me at the start. To be fair, he pulled me in and said, my game time's going to be limited. So, it's fair play. And it's like I said, it's football. It's what he wanted to do. It's up to the manager. He was great with me around the place. I was training every day with the lads. There's nothing. I wasn't ostracised or anything like that. So. I wish them all the best, and you can see what a good job that he's doing, and it's up to me now to this new challenge and take it on.
That make you extra hungry then to come to Huddersfield with a bit of a point to prove, to show what you're all about?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I want to come in and help the lads out. They've been great with me since I got here, so I'm looking forward to getting out there and like I say, showing what I can do and helping moving forward.
There are people who I'm sure would shy away from a challenge like the one that Huddersfield Town are facing to get away from the bottom of the Championship. You've had loads of experience, both good times and bad times. In your experience, what does it take to get a team out of bother?
It's a lot of hard work, definitely a lot of hard work on the training pitch. And then when it comes to games as well, we're going to need a lot of togetherness. It is going to get tough at times, but as long as we're resilient, when it's not going our way and we keep working hard, it'll pay us back in the long run. And it's, like I say, sticking together, getting behind each other, using the atmosphere from the crowd that I've seen in the last couple of games that I've been to, and thriving off that as well. And moving forward, it's just about being honest, working hard, and doing what the manager says and putting it into practice.
And obviously, you've done your homework before agreeing to the loan move. So have you seen enough from recent performances by the Terriers that you think they've got enough about them that you can get out of this situation? Definitely, yeah.
Like I said, I've been to the last couple of matches and I've seen more than enough that they've got the quality as well as the hard work and that the manager's doing on the training pitch as well with the coaches, making sure that we're reactive on turnovers and transitions, things like that, and we're not sulking if we give the ball away. We're back in shape early, working on the right things, and like I said, the last couple of performances have been great and picked up some important points already since I've joined. So it's up to us to keep going and move up the table.
Mark Fotheringham's not been afraid this season to give young players an opportunity. You come in as a more experienced head, if you like. Is that something that you will like to think that you would bring to this squad, that you can work with the younger players, give them that encouragement, that expertise to kind of help them thrive in this situation too?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I've been lucky enough to train with a couple of the young lads. When the lads that have been playing have been on, recovering days and things like that. So train with the young boys, and they look very good. They've got a lot of quality in there. So like you say, hopefully with my expertise and experience, I can, bring them, help them in and around the place. I know that when they're working hard and make sure they're in the right positions, things like that. And, obviously it comes together nicely and we can, like I say, work together as a full squad to get us up the table.
And you're on loan for the rest of the season. Ultimately, how do you see these next few months panning out? How, in an ideal world, what would you like to happen between now and end of May?
Win every game. Ideally it'll be me personally, to play and help the team out. For the team, it's obvious that we need to get results on the board as quick as we can. Like I say, if hit the ground running from now, get a few results, we move up, and the table looks a whole lot different then, and we can start, looking higher up the table and hopefully enjoying winning games.
Matty Lowton there then, Huddersfield Town's new boy, playing at right back for them today. 0-0 at the break on BBC Radio Leeds. Second half commentary on the way here. Preston against Huddersfield Town in the FA Cup third round. The draw is on Monday night, I believe. For the fourth round, will Huddersfield Town be in the hat? Will Leeds United be in the hat? Tomorrow we have full commentary of their game. They go over the border to face Welsh side Cardiff City. Cardiff City against Leeds United. It's a 2 o'clock kickoff. We're on all frequencies and also online via our website bbc.co.uk/Radio Leeds and on the BBC Sounds app for that one. 2 o'clock kickoff, as I say. Catherine Hanna, Adam Pope and title-winning centre-half John Newsom are over there tomorrow for you. We are here today under the blue skies at Deepdale, where the substitutes at half-time are just going through a bit of a session out there, just looking as well at a possible change for Huddersfield Town at the break here. They've already made one change. Aina, the young centre-half on his full debut, substituted within 40 minutes after getting a yellow card and being let off. Apparently, it seemed that way, didn't it? With a second yellow card. He was substituted seconds later. Looks as though at half-time, Florian Camberi will be coming on for Huddersfield Town. The other new boy signed this week, the Swiss striker formerly of Sheffield Wednesday and Karlsruhe, which is where he knows Mark Fotheringham from.
And Dwayne Holmes as well, by the looks of it.
Dwayne Holmes as well. Yeah, he is. There you go. Yeah, he's on the opposite side of the field, isn't he? Camberi's out there doing a full session, and Dwayne Holmes on the other side just putting his shirt on now. So it looks like it will be 2 changes at half-time for Huddersfield Town. What did you make to the Aina change then? It did look like he'd been let off by the referee with that second yellow card.
Yeah, he had to. Good, a brave decision by the coach, because he's a young lad making his debut, and it's like you've got to make that decision. What's more important, him maybe having his thingy knocked his confidence a little bit, or Town being 10 men for 55 minutes. I'm sorry, he's got to go. You've got to learn. It's a learning curve for him as well. You've got to be careful with your challenges. You've got to be careful. Stay on your feet. Do things properly. As I say, people joked a little bit, oh yeah, he kicks people in training. So, it's funny when it's in training, yeah, great, but if you're bringing that onto a match day, it's like, oh yeah, he's sloppy in training. Well, yeah, he's sloppy in games. It doesn't matter. You've got to train as you play, and if he's going around smashing everyone, I'm afraid it's not funny, and especially when the other person gets smashed in training as well. It's not funny. I remember Theo Robinson putting my tooth through my lip once in there because it was all elbows. It was like, bloody hell, Theo, what are you doing? It was like, it's a bit funny, but match day, no, it's not. You have to make sure you do things properly. He's not, and he's learnt a very harsh lesson today that first team football's serious.
Right then, let's see what this double change is going to entail as the Lily Whites come back out. The Terriers already out there. I'll pass you back to your commentary duo of Matt Glennon and Paul Ogden.
Thanks, Johnny. I've got a funny feeling we won't see Matt Radoni for the second half.
No.
Jack Radoni, I should say.
We definitely won't see Matt Radoni.
Matt Radoni, new signing. Hail him. Tyree Simpson, I don't think has come out for the second half either.
No.
So Camberi, a slightly mysterious man from Switzerland via Karlsruhe, Winterthur, Sheffield Wednesday and Hibernian. A striker, a burly striker who's been with Huddersfield Town training since November. He's going to make his debut here at the start of the second half in the cup tie at Deepdale. Jack Radoni replaced by Dwayne Holmes. So that is definitely forward-thinking substitutions, of which Huddersfield Town have made 3 altogether now, because Loic Aina was brought off to be replaced by Wilbur in the first half.
Yeah, I think they're going to exploit the sloppiness at the back of Preston.
Yeah.
I've said they're playing it, knocking it around the back, and the goalkeeper as well, Freddie, one as if it's like one of these BT game type things, and hopefully Town can punish them for that. because they deserve to be when you're playing that sloppily around the back.
Just to clarify, I said at half-time that the draw would be Monday night for the FA Cup fourth round. It's not. It's at 4 o'clock tomorrow, ahead of the game between Manchester City and Chelsea.
Thank you, Johnny. I would have got that. I would have missed it.
I just didn't want to say.
You didn't want to correct me, did you?
Yeah, again. I do enough for your maths these days. Exactly, yeah.
Well, the only thing we're certain about from this tie is that one Championship team will be in it from this match at Deepdale. 0-0, second half underway. Huddersfield Town in the pink away strip with the white front, bottom half at least. Preston in white shirts, dark blue shorts and hoop socks, though predominantly white with a dark blue hoop. And I can't see that Preston themselves have made any changes for the second period. Huddersfield Town have made 2 more. Florian Kamberi on for Tyrese Simpson at the front end, and Dwayne Holmes has replaced Jack Radoni down the attacking flanks. Huddersfield Town attack from right to left. Loughton plays a short ball into the box. Kamberi's touch almost runs, but spins away from Sorba Thomas and into the arms of Woodman, the Preston keeper.
Yeah, good work there from Thomas. Good thing is, he injects some pace into the pass. Just makes everyone think a little bit quicker. Everyone just step up. Well, for one, appreciate the pass, but also make themselves get forward. And that's what they did. Good numbers there as well. Good numbers going forward. Unfortunately, Kamberi's ball just a little bit too heavy. That was a chance early on.
Kamberi, 6'3", square-shouldered, wearing 44. Darts around to try and persuade Dwayne Holmes to poke the ball into his path. But Huddersfield Town concede possession. Johnson making the tackle. In front of him, Ledson does the protecting, and Preston work the ball back into their own half, and they're back 3. Lindsay and Hughes, 2 of them, connect, and then Hughes' ball from the far side, the Preston left, bounces once and into the arms of Bilokovic. Too straight for Ben Woodburn to get on the end of. Preston North End 0, Huddersfield Town 0 on BBC Radio Leeds for this FA Cup third round tie. Will Boyle hesitates far too long on the ball on the edge of his penalty area. His attempted pass is charged down and then successfully fetched.
You know, I'm going to stick with Will Boyle there. He was calling someone to come towards him. Come on, someone, and everyone at less than half pace, trying to give him an angle to pass the ball. Get into a good position so your centre half's got something to pass to.
Matt Loughton does well to tackle Alvaro Fernandez, dispossessing him and then working the ball across the halfway line towards Kamberi, who runs into the robust tackle of Andrew Hughes of Preston North End and loses it. Preston work it up the right through Diaby. A nice back heel touch by Ben Woodburn. He's held by Will Boyle. Referee gives the free kick on the halfway line in favour of Preston North End. No caution for Will Boyle, who then negotiates with the linesman.
Yeah, Will Boyle's turning circles a little bit bigger than Woodburn's. Then decent bit of sharp play, to be fair. Boyle did enough not to get booked. I mean, clever play. He's not climbing all over him, not rugby challenging him. Yeah. He just lays an arm on him and makes sure it's not enough for the referee to be reaching for his card.
3 second half minutes gone. Preston 0, Huddersfield Town 0. Lindsay slides the pass right towards the defender Diaby, who barrels forward, gets past his first man to bring the home crowd to its feet, but is tackled comfortably by Etienne Kamara of Huddersfield Town. He releases Sorba Thomas. Thomas into the box, but his cross isn't high enough for the chasing Michael Helik to reach, nor did Kamberi have a chance of connecting. Really Helik twice now has galloped forward to join the attack.
Yeah, fancies himself for an FA Cup goal. But Thomas there, really good running. Maybe could have gone a little bit early with the cross, but he took 5 Preston players out of the game. Just needed a final bit of quality on that left foot.
The game's opened up at both ends now. Preston attack down the left. Fernandez's cross doesn't reach Alan Brown. Huddersfield Town defend it successfully, and the space between the lines in the open 4 minutes of this match in the second half suggests we are going to get a goal one day between Preston North End and Huddersfield Town in the FA Cup third round. Free kick to Preston on the far side. Their left. And the Preston fans are jeered by Huddersfield Town's fans on the road for at last coming up with a chant to create some atmosphere.
Well, it's better than the usual grunt that we've heard. in the first half.
From both sets of fans.
And us.
Daniel Johnson or Ryan Ledson to strike Preston's free kick. Ledson floats it, in fact, high to the right side of the box. Kasumu gets in front of Boyle, heads away. Bambo Diaby picks it up on the right edge of the penalty area. Tries to go around Kane Kessler-Hayden, who defends well. Diaby collects the loose ball and feeds Brown. His cross is headed away by Kamara, but not convincingly. Johnson scoots it back into the penalty area. It's defended well by Will Boyle. And now Huddersfield Town can break on the counter-attack with Florian Kamberi on the end of a pass by Sorba Thomas. The two of them isolated upfield, but Kamberi's strong. He's tackled by Fernandez with surprising strength in the challenge from the Spaniard. And despite Kamberi's attempts to bite back, Preston bring it away, snuffing out the counter-attack. Brown lays a careful pass round the outside, collected by Ben Woodburn, unaware of the space behind him, I think. That allows Kane Kessler-Hayden to recover and block his cross. It's a Preston corner at the town end of Deepdale.
Yeah, he's been busy, Kessler-Hayden, in these first few minutes of the second half. Two really good blocks, the stop crosses coming into the box. Definitely come to life the game a little bit more, though. You can see that Sorba Thomas is trying to be more direct on the front foot going forward. Kamberi needs to use that pace, though, get into some space, see if he can find you.
Preston's corner coming from the right hand side. Daniel Johnson preparing to deliver it left-footed. Referee Backhouse has interrupted things, though. I think he wants another word with Sorba Thomas, who he's had one or two conversations with today. Thomas and Mikey O'Neill tangling. Sorba Thomas, a picture of innocence as he explains himself to the referee. 6 second half minutes gone of this hitherto scoreless FA Cup third round tie. Preston may have other ideas, though, in front of their popular town end. And Daniel Johnson's corner delivered with a clipped cross, headed away by Mikael Helik. On the edge of the box, Ryan Ledson. And then a strike by McCann. Dribbles wide. No threat on Bilokovic's goal. Goal kick.
Yeah, you can see why Sorba Thomas is not too happy with the ref there, because he's just standing his ground. Lad trying to force his way past him, trying to push him left and right. He's saying, I'm not moving. It's not really me you should be having a chat with. Good defending, though, from the corner, coming in from Helik again. Decent stretch.
Sorba Thomas from Kane Kessler-Hayden's bringing of the ball up towards halfway. Thomas trying to switch across to the right side, but he has dragged it behind Dwayne Holmes and co. And the ball's gone straight out of play for a Preston North End.
Yeah.
Throw-in.
Execution not great again, but it's the right idea. He's trying to spread the game out a little bit, give people a little bit of space instead of just having it all clogged in one area on the pitch. Just needs to get the execution sorted out.
3 substitutions already made by Huddersfield Town. Will Boyle on for Aina in the first half. Boyle, Helik, Lees across the back 3. On the right side, Matt Lowton continuing to start his loan from Burnley. Kane Kessler-Hayden playing as a left wing back today. And in front of them, Thomas, Kamara, Kasumu, Holmes and Kamberi. Looseness from Preston, and Dwayne Holmes pounces to attack the penalty area. His cross is blocked by the recovering Hughes, and it's a corner to Huddersfield Town as a result.
Sloppy play at the back again from Preston, that's what we talked about. And I think the forward-thinking players that Mark Fotheringham has brought on has recognised that fact, that they are dwelling on the ball too long, they are taking chances, and you might as well just push people forward.
Obviously hungry for involvement since he came on as a sub at the turnaround. Dwayne Holmes has won the corner for Huddersfield Town. And Wales international Sorba Thomas is going to deliver it from the right side, in front of the Terrier support on the road at Deepdale. Thomas's corner. High, outswinger, Helik up in the air, beaten by Hughes. Boyle reaching for it, holding Diaby as he does so, and the referee stops play. And disappointingly, from the Yorkshire point of view, gives the free kick to the defending side, Preston North End.
I think disappointingly, the fact I think it was 50-50. I don't think anything was going on there. It was a bit of a wrestling match. I think the referee could easily have just carried on the game there, stopping it again a little bit needlessly.
Preston are wasteful with their possession downfield. Bilokovic collects it in the Huddersfield Town goal and bowls it out towards Kessler-Hayden. Thomas runs into heavy traffic. Preston play it through into space, but Mikey O'Neill's got not enough pace on him to get there before Bilokovic, who anticipated it beautifully.
Yeah, decent area on the pitch. Out of his 6-yard box and gives himself a chance.
Smothered it, bowled it out, and quickly Huddersfield Town look upfield towards their relatively new signing on debut now as a sub, Florian Camberry. He's beaten to it and it's put out of play. Huddersfield Town's throw-in taken quickly. Leeds finds Camberry, a neat touch to release Thomas. His shot is blocked by Diaby. It'll go for a corner off Diaby's challenge, and painfully Sober Thomas got a thud on the shin after the shot.
Yeah, you can just see Kesler Hayden's reaction to that. He's thinking, I'm in all this space, I can come in on my right hand side, I can get a strike, and you've gone with your left foot from 35 yards. Doesn't look too impressed with his teammate.
You wouldn't quite call it a sustained period of pressure in a slow-paced cup tie, but Huddersfield Town have a corner. In front of their own travelling fans, Huddersfield Town's corner will be taken again, this time from the left by Wales international Sober Thomas, fresh from the World Cup. Right-footed from the left near post. Kasumu is beaten at the near post by a brave challenge from Ali McCann of Preston North End. Kesler Hayden finds Matthew Loughton. Loughton's chip into the box. Fernandez heads it away from his own keeper, charging behind him. Halix crosses a good one, and it's an important header away by Lindsay that clears Preston's lines. Kesler Hayden's onto it. He finds Loughton striding forward. Loughton's touch-off brings in Thomas, whose cross finds Lees, then Boyle, and then a shot goalwards and into the back of the net. Florian Camberry has scored on his Huddersfield Town debut. Shortly after coming on as a substitute, Camberry sprints across to his head coach Mark Fotheringham, and after a sustained period of pressure since the turnaround, Huddersfield Town take the lead through Florian Camberry.
Yeah, I don't think we can call it a sustained amount of pressure now. That's what they've done. They've kept the Preston back line further back, and they kept the ball alive. They kept the ball alive. Not great quality in from the first instance on the corner, but they kept putting it in there. No fouls, no silly mistakes. And you know what? Half volley, left foot, bottom corner, really good finish. And he'll be very, very happy with his debut today now, getting his goal, getting his account started in the FA Cup. Well done, Camberry, great finish.
Impressed by the aggression of Town in the Preston penalty area after the initial breakdown.
But the discipline as well, that's what I'm saying, no silly challenges, no little tugs, nothing else, just keep it alive, keep it alive. Will Boyle as well. Instead of trying to score himself, knowing he's not going to get the power on the header to beat the goalkeeper, unselfishly finds a teammate. 1-0 up.
Preston North End 0, Huddersfield Town 1 on BBC Radio Leeds. Preston build for an equaliser straight away with Johnson and Fernandez. Fernandez has got a wall of the pink away strip of Huddersfield Town in front of him, but he lays it off towards Johnson, whose cross is going to fall to Woodburn. Woodburn can't get over the top of his shot on the turn, and he skies it into the Town end of Deepdale.
Yeah, calling for handballs in the box there as well. Etienne Kamara, Will Boyle sent to the referee. You don't see that. He's knocked it forward with his hand. Fortunately, straight over the top of the crossbar. No danger.
Will Boyle chips it forward from deep. Camberry full of running after his debut goal for Town. Holds it, works it back cleverly towards Sober Thomas, who jinks at the defenders. But hesitation from Al Brown on the edge of his penalty area puts his team in trouble. Dwayne Holmes buzzing around. Then Preston finds space after a clearance. Dan Johnson has his shirt dragged by David Kasumu. Johnson drags it away. Kasumu holds his shirt, and David Kasumu twice failed to cope with Daniel Johnson's pace and skill on the ball. Kasumu booked, and I'm afraid deservedly so. Let's be fair about it.
Kasumu doesn't need to drag anyone back because of their pace. He's one of the quickest players we've seen in this Huddersfield Town squad. Gives himself a needless yellow card. He's lucky to get away with the first tug back, to be fair. So Lucas Johnson carried on with his run. But don't do it, you don't need to do it. He's a long way from goal. He's running into traffic.
Well, thankfully the FA Cup third round ties livened up since Huddersfield Town's goal from Camberry. Preston looking to hit back with this set piece. Left of centre, 30 yards out. Johnson and Ledson over it for North End. Johnson's left-footed chip. Haley heads away, unchallenged just outside his 6-yard box. And this is where David Kasumu can use his pace, but he's dispossessed. Out on the left, Woodburn recovers and crosses, and it's into the net of poor Tom Lees. A Preston equaliser is an own goal. Woodburn takes the credit for the assist and the early cross. It's Preston 1, Huddersfield Town 1, with all to play for again.
Well, this goes to show bad decision making. Kasumu dragging the shirt back, gives the free kick. 10 seconds later makes another bad decision. And Tom Lee, as you say, poor Tom Lee scores an own goal. Can't react quick enough. Kasumu's got to do better there on 2 instances. It's cost his team a lead. And now they've got to pick themselves up and go again.
Substitution for Preston North End coming off number 39, Mikey O'Neill.
Mikey O'Neill has done his shift for Preston. And the boyhood Preston North End fan turned player, Finlay Crossadare, is on to replace him. Preston 1, Huddersfield Town 1. Predict the rest of this cup tie, if you dare.
Well, after the first half, obviously I want my 4th cup of coffee to keep us awake. We didn't actually need it, because it has livened up in the second half. But again, it goes, we talked to Anya going off because of his poor decision making. Kasumu's done exactly the same. 2 really poor decisions have cost his team.
And Huddersfield Town, having conceded the equaliser, are quickly onto the front foot from the restart, with Sober Thomas down the right, taking on Fernandez. Alvaro Fernandez and Sober Thomas tangle. Town work it through Lowton to Holmes, who turns smartly to cross left-footed. That's a big header away by Hughes. Kasumu fires a volleyed cross in from the right, and it's too high in the air for Huddersfield Town to challenge for. Woodman, the keeper, collects and bowls it out for McCann. Kane Kesler-Hayden had already outpaced his man to reach him on the chase, but then needlessly dragged McCann down and concedes the free kick anyway.
You think these Preston shirts were collector items? They keep grabbing hold of the shirts constantly. I've never seen so much shirt grabbing before in my life, especially from players who are some of the quickest players we've ever seen in a Huddersfield Town shirt. You're there, you're on the halfway line. You don't need to stop. The break wasn't that quick. There's plenty of players to cover.
McCann left all alone in midfield, supplies Dan Johnson. Johnson trying to turn it back into McCann's path, gets his direction wrong, and Sober Thomas pounces on the loose ball. Preston 1, Huddersfield Town 1. Tom Lees, the man whose own goal has brought Preston back into it, works it upfield. Kamara's pass hits the referee. It looks as if it was going to reach Dwayne Holmes' feet as well as it crossed halfway. Referee's going to stop the game and give the ball back to Huddersfield Town.
We hope.
Town fans sing to referee Backhouse, he doesn't know what he's doing. That was a decent midfield challenge by the man in black.
One of the best first touches of the game.
Haley for Huddersfield Town. Will Boyle on halfway guides it carefully up to the feet of Sober Thomas, whose touch is heavy, but he recovers it in midair and finds David Kasumu. Huddersfield Town still don't progress much from halfway. Dwayne Holmes pings the ball back first time to Matt Lowton. Nothing doing upfield for Lowton, so he reverses the pass from Michael Haley. And Dwayne Holmes always seems full of invention, his body language so positive. He races forward after a flick, but he's never going to reach that. Oh, the keeper's clearance has gone straight to Kasumu. Canberra's standing good. His shot is blocked on the line by Diaby. And that was magnificent defending by Bambo Diaby, who stopped Huddersfield Town from taking a certain lead. 1-1 it stays. And Preston counter. Johnson finds Fernandez. Into the box he goes. Spare man on the edge. It's Alan Brown. And his shot is deflected away for a corner. End to end in the cup tie.
At last, yes, absolutely superb. Canberra's got to do better there. Great work for Kasumu. I thought, go on, finish it. Make up for your couple of mistakes that led to Tom Lees' own goal. He doesn't, unselfishly passes it to his centre forward teammate, who maybe could have gone forward, could have took a couple of steps, could have took a touch. Definitely should have been 2-1 to Huddersfield Town, but then some great defending at the back as well, because that was flying in the bottom corner of Volokopic's goal.
Chances missed at both ends. Preston's corner results. Johnson delivers, and it's helped away just about at the far post by the shin of Matthew Loughton. Another Preston corner coming. And both sets of fans at last animated.
It's a cup tie, eh? It is a different kind of draw when it comes alive. Just need two teams to take it seriously.
65 minutes gone. All square. Preston pressing for a lead in front of their home fans. Alan Brown's corner, deep, long, too high for Hughes to reach, and it's curved all the way over and around the goal to the other side. It's a goal kick to Huddersfield Town.
Yeah, it's going back to that chance though, Gameri's chance. It just shows that sloppiness of Preston again. Great work from Gasumu, just being aggressive, that press. So it was a slowish press from Holmes, but then everybody joins in and it creates a chance. I don't think it'll be the last one.
A jinking dribble by Kane Kessler-Hayden takes him past two Preston players. Holmes links with Loughton, who's crossed to the near post, is snapped up by keeper Woodman. One deft touch at the near post would have done it for Kane Kessler-Hayden. As it is, Preston have collected and break now through Johnson and Fernandez. And down the left-hand side, McCann, his cross is blocked. But the stooping header away by Mikael Helik is going to reach Ledson. Woodburn outside the penalty area. Turns it for Daniel Johnson, always a danger man. Down the right it goes for Brown to drill the cross into the near post. It's blocked by Kamara. And out of play it goes for another corner.
Yeah, so Helik's done as much as he can there with that stooping header. I don't think he needs four of the Huddersfield Town players around him when there's only one Preston player there. The fact the ball's recycled is because there's too many Town players in the 18-yard box when there's only two Preston players. I think a little bit more communication would help in those situations.
Suddenly Preston can sense a chance in the cup tie. They throw the big men forward for this Daniel Johnson corner. Far post, the touch by Haylick is crucial to interrupt the arrival of the Preston players. McCann keeps the attack alive. Finds Ledson, who crosses early. Will Boyle climbs on Diaby. He's cleared though. Preston recover possession. Woodburn fakes the cross and finds Johnson in space instead. And that was a shot by Daniel Johnson, well blocked by Will Boyle, who kept focused and knew what he was doing to concede the corner.
It had to be. Preston player just sneaking towards that near post to get a little nod in ahead of blocker pitch. Good defending from Boyle. These corners are dangerous. Seems to get them on the money every single time.
Preston look to the trusty left foot of Daniel Johnson again for the corner.
He's very sociable, this referee, and he likes to pull two players towards him every time there's a corner.
And the two he chooses for that conversation are Bambo Diaby and Will Boyle. Who now walk shoulder to shoulder back towards the penalty spot. 1-1. And suddenly it's a gripping FA Cup third round tie. Preston's short corner comes back to Johnson. His left-footed cross from the right is volleyed away by Matt Loughton. And Johnson's going to go and chase back towards halfway to stop a counter-attack. Fernandez helps it to Woodman. Woodman's clearance is weak. Canberry pounces on it, and suddenly Huddersfield Town have a chance. Thomas's cross is blocked by Ledson. How has this game opened up in the second half?
Yeah, great word from Ledson, you've got to say there. Canberry diving onto that poor knock from Woodman forward. But Thomas just can't find his man in the box.
Woodburn takes on Huddersfield Town all on his own. Lays it off to Johnson. McCann might shoot here, left-footed, just over. Goal kick.
Decent effort, decent effort. So Vlahovic didn't look too excited about the ball going towards his goal. A little bit too much space to get the strike off though. Town will be quite happy just to see that go past the post.
Substitution for Huddersfield Town coming off with 38, Matthew Loughton.
Matt Loughton has his debut shortened and being replaced as we speak by Brahima Diarra. And Loughton's not done much wrong at all, has he, Matt?
No, that was a really good solid debut. Nothing wrong, so he got forward as much as he can, tried to get involved in the attacks just as much as the defending. But Preston won't want to see this. Diarra very direct, we're driving at them. As I say, we've seen a bit of a leaky back line in the second half for Preston.
And Diarra had a fabulous impact here in the Championship game on Boxing Day to turn the game in Huddersfield Town's favour. On as a sub to replace Matt Loughton. Huddersfield Town working up the right-hand side. Nice combination between Holmes, Kasumu, Kamara. Thomas's cross is blocked though. And Huddersfield Town are showing tempo, have done since the half-time break. 70 minutes on the clock. David Kasumu takes his eye off the ball as it's tipped towards him by Dwayne Holmes. And lets the ball run embarrassingly under his blades for a throw into Preston North End. Huddersfield's field position comes to nothing. And Preston's throwing goes backwards under darkening skies suddenly here in Lancashire, even though it's only 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Preston 1, Huddersfield Town 1. Long ball forward, headed beyond the Town defenders by Alan Brown. Was Mikael Halik guilty of handball there as Woodburn knocked it past him? Referee has reached for a yellow card, and Preston will get a free kick just outside the penalty area. Woodburn saying to the liner on this near side, he was the last man.
Yeah, I think he's fishing a little bit there. Absolutely no chance. It was a handball. He was running. His hand was not in a normal position, as you would say, to get there. But I think he was a bit unfortunate, very close to him. But definitely the yellow card, definitely a handball.
And after a dull first half, it's suddenly become a tit-for-tat cup tie. Chances at both ends since Preston's equaliser. And now it's Preston's turn with this free kick, with Johnson and Ledson, predictably, the candidates to strike it. Or have they got a trick up their sleeve? Daniel Johnson often has.
Got to be testing a young goalkeeper there. Johnson's got to be thinking about chucking his left foot through this.
Dwayne Holmes joins the two-man wall consisting of Canberry and Kessler Hayden, and then pulls away from them. Ledson chips it behind the targets, but Kasumu nods it back into the path of Diaby, who fires it past Milokovic to give Preston the lead. And the touch from David Kasumu was all wrong. Diaby's taken his chance with a crisp shot. It's Preston 2, Huddersfield Town 1.
Well, that was an absolute nothing free kick. Really looked like it had been wasted straight to 2 Huddersfield Town players. And Kasumu's carried on his nightmare from the first goal, and he's gifted Preston a second again. I don't know if he's just taken his eye off it or what's happened there, but that's another really big mistake to let Preston in. And I wouldn't say it was deserved either. Town have been pressing forward, should have had the 2-1 themselves, and that's a real blow, a real blow.
Huddersfield Town head coach Mark Fotheringham has got another substitution coming. On the far side of the ground could be Cian Harrop.
Well, Kasumu's days come to an end. I think he'd be quite happy about that.
Could be Josh Ruffles. You can tell he's a long way away. It is Harrop. David Kasumu subbed. Cian Harrop, a striker who's been loaned out and brought back. And Huddersfield Town now find themselves needing an equaliser, having led by a goal to nil.
Well, they've got plenty of attacking options on the pitch now to drive at this Preston team, but that was a real gift, an absolute gift for him. So Kasumu will be gutted because he's made some decent contributions this afternoon as well. I'm afraid the 2 biggest ones have cost his team 2 goals.
Huddersfield Town press on Woodburn to win the ball back off him. Harrop quickly into the attack, supplies Canberry with a lovely pass from the left, but Canberry loses the thread and ends up taking the ball away from himself with his balancing foot as he looked up to see what his options were in the penalty area. It's gone for a goal kick to Preston North End.
Yeah, that was poor. That was great vision from Harrop there as well. That little reverse ball into his path. Great little start for him coming onto the pitch.
Tom Lees judges the flight and the bounce of the ball perfectly to nod it back to Milokovic. He quickly bowls it out, showing the urgency that Huddersfield Town need to try and find an equaliser. 2-1 Preston lead. And we have 15 minutes of normal time left. Preston leading by 2 goals to 1. Press on with Johnson on the far side on Thomas, and now down the left side as Huddersfield Town switch the direction of their attack. Boyle feeds Kessler Hayden. Brahima Diarra, the midfield sub, turns it into the path of Kessler Hayden, who jinks past his man, supplies Harrott in the box. Harrott running at a tight angle, fires it onto the side netting and in behind. It's a goal kick.
Yeah, better from Kessler Hayden there, driving inside. Decent pass. Harrott would have to do a lot to beat Freddie Woodman from that angle. But nice and direct though, working this Preston defence again. Still plenty of time. Referees just straight away making sure Freddie Woodman's not wasting any time.
Inside the last 15 minutes at Deepdale, Woodman taking his time with his team 2-1 ahead. Floats it over the halfway line. Big jump by Will Boyle, a commanding presence, but his clearing header drops for Ledson to knock over the top. Woodburn is offside. And Michael Helik's already in position to take the free kick. Will Boyle on the edge of his penalty area, rolls it for Helik. Helik changes his mind a couple of times about what he's going to do with it and brings in Will Boyle again. He's 15 yards short of halfway when he sends a real wasteful pass upfield. Unusually today since he came on as a sub. And that one's going to go straight down for Woodman, the keeper, to collect for Preston. His bowl out across to the left-hand side allows Hughes to lift it forward. Alvaro Fernandez chases and keeps the attack alive near the left corner flag. Tom Lees is with him. Lees' challenge concedes a corner, and the applause is from the home fans for Fernandez's persistence.
Yeah, definite slowdown in Preston's pace of the game now. So they got that lead. Town have to make sure they inject it as much as they possibly can themselves. So they've got enough pace and power on the pitch.
Daniel Johnson looks up at his skipper Alan Brown, who has decided that he's going to take this corner from the Preston left-hand side. Johnson will join those in the penalty area waiting for it. And Huddersfield Town have every single one of their outfield players back in their own penalty area. Preston looking to book their place in the 4th round of the FA Cup. Brown's corner, dipping inwards and beyond the far post. Out it goes off Hughes, with Huddersfield Town's defenders really scrambling suddenly.
Yeah, they were. They looked a little bit too close to that far post. I think Bloklich looked like he was in a decent position, thought it was comfortable going out of play. They got away with it this time. 2 Huddersfield Town players at that back post just to cover.
Slow-paced possession for Huddersfield Town, with Kamara sliding it, telegraphing it straight for his compatriot Diarra. Diaby intercepts for Preston North End. Ledson works it down the left for Alan Brown, who miscontrolled it initially but has recovered despite the attentions of Dwayne Holmes. Preston 2, Huddersfield Town 1 in the FA Cup 3rd round. Diaby, Preston's goal scorer that's given them the lead, works it right for McCann. McCann looks to Woodburn, but Michael Helik read it well, and he's going to just watch the ball out, having put his body in the right place between opponent and ball near the byline. Helik actually then sprints around the back of his keeper Velokovic and clips the goal kick out for him for Tom Lees. Lees will get it back from Helik. In fact, Lees leaves it for Silver Thomas, but Huddersfield Town are being closed on as they make the return passes. Johnson sends it forward for Crossadere. Crossadere is tackled by Diarra. Ledson links with Fernandez, and they've left Daniel Johnson all alone down the left side of the penalty area. His square ball, Woodburn scruffily strikes it first time, and the ball bubbles into the grateful arms of Velokovic, the Huddersfield Town keeper.
Yeah, I think it's inevitable now that gaps are going to open up in this Town back line.
Diarra caught ball watching, unaware that McCann was behind him, and Preston have nicked the ball off him as Huddersfield Town were trying to build from the back. Ledson squares it for Hughes. 2-1 Preston lead into the last 11 minutes. Fernandez attacks from the left-hand side. Ledson patient, lays it short for Johnson. Holmes watches but can't get near the ball. Fernandez clips a shot at goal but wide.
Yeah, I think Town will be quite happy about that. Let him shoot from 25-30 yards on the angle. You've just got to find a way to get past Preston. Preston are putting quite a high press at the minute, and Town aren't getting out of their own half. Bad touch from Canberra there again, just gives them the ball back.
And now he's got a chase. And Daniel Johnson has got great feet, and he dances away from the Swiss striker that scored on his Huddersfield Town debut from the bench. Preston keep the ball now inside Huddersfield Town's half. 2-1 ahead. Brown makes himself available down the right. Ledson's curving cross is behind his intended targets, but Fernandez has collected it, skipped infield past Sorba Thomas, checks his run, looks for his options. The best one is Johnson out on the left-hand side. The pace of the attack breaks down, but Preston stay on the front foot. Diaby, after his goal, encouraged to shoot again. This time he lays it off unselfishly for Alan Brown. McCann finds Ledson on the edge of the box. Lees anticipated the shot well and blocked it, but Ledson's won it back for Preston, and they stay on the front foot yet again. Camped on the edge of the Huddersfield Town penalty area, looking to kill the tie off. Fernandez's cross. Will Ball chests it down. He got the call from Bilokovic, and it worked well as Bilokovic collects it.
Yeah, good defending, nice and cool there from Will. So Bilokovic hopefully gave him a big shout. Collects it time for Town just to build forward now, start committing some players. Boyle's even gone into the left wing position himself.
Tom Lee spots Will Boyle's galloping run downfield, and Boyle, though off balance, cushions the header infield to link with Diarra. Preston nip across and put it out of play. That was nice space management by Will Boyle.
It was, just needs his teammates to go with him now. The only thing he can do is head the ball back into play again. And Diarra was there just a little bit late.
9 minutes left for Huddersfield Town to find an equaliser. Here's the combination between Kessler-Hayden and Diarra to open Preston up, but the defence is there. Hughes gets the thanks of those around him. But Huddersfield Town are taking their throw-ins quickly now. Time running out. Diarra leaves it for Kessler-Hayden. Preston fly in a tackle. Woodburn latterly stops Kessler-Hayden in his tracks. And Diarra now looks up for his options. Finds his fellow Frenchman, Kamara. Diarra jinks at the penalty area and the defenders standing in wait. McCann has been caught in making the tackle. Diaby clears to halfway. Preston 2, Huddersfield Town 1 as Haylick meets the clearance and finds Kamara. Kamara's ball to Canberra is interrupted by Hughes. The nod forward by Kessler-Hayden is collected by Ledson, and there's a Preston player down as a result of a foul, says the referee. It's a Preston free kick for something naughty on McCann, I think.
Yeah, I think we're getting to that time of the game now. People are going to spend a little bit of time going down. They're working hard, Preston, though, to stop Town. There's some big challenges coming in. Working very hard to stop crosses, stop shots. Just need to get some decent possession around the 18-yard as Canberra needs to tighten up on his touch. He's had a couple opportunities to do something with it and give the ball away quite cheaply.
Cian Harrop only recently came on as a sub, but he's had a gel. Or has he actually been the recipient of the gel from the bench for somebody else?
Yeah, passed it to
He's thrown it across to Kessler-Hayden.
Yeah.
Thank you. That makes more sense. Woodman's clearance from the free kick just outside his box. The ball bouncing awkwardly for Huddersfield Town's defenders. Haylick hooks it clear. Johnson recollects for Preston, who come forward again. And even when he's 50 yards from goal now, Diaby's encouraged to shoot by the North Enders after his powerful strike to give them the lead. And 2-1 is how it still stands. Patiently Preston build down the left-hand side. Fernandez tips the pass back for Daniel Johnson, who lets the ball roll behind him, recollects to supply Diaby. And now Alan Brown, the skipper, pulls away into space down the right flank. Johnson, the orchestrator in midfield in this second half. Preston 2, Huddersfield Town 1. Time running out for Town. Fernandez, meanwhile, runs at Sorba Thomas. Lays it off for Ledson. His chip to the far post. Brown nips in. 3-1 Preston. Kane Kesler-Hayden looked hesitant. Alan Brown, the Preston skipper, nipped in to roll the ball over the line from very close range. And though Huddersfield Town once had the lead in the cup tie, it's Preston North End who are heading through to round 4. 3-1 they lead.
Yeah, I think we can say that Town are done there. Boyle and Kesler-Hayden just having a little chat with each other. Who should have gone for it? Who should have done better? It's a teasing ball into the 6-yard box, but it should have been dealt with. You've got to attack it. You've got to go towards it. You can't let the ball bounce in the 6-yard box. Go and meet the ball, clear it. Don't have to be clever. Just don't allow Brown, the Preston player, just to nip in behind you and put the simplest of balls in the back of the net. Not sure about the goalkeeper's position. Could have done a little bit more. For me, it's more the players at the back post that have got to make sure they defend, do things properly. And from being potentially 2-1 up with Kamberi's chance, now it's 3-1 and goodbye FA Cup.
And Kane Kesler-Hayden certainly won't forget this Preston-dominated episode of his Huddersfield Town career on loan from Aston Villa, because he scored the winner here in the Championship match on Boxing Day. Had a magnificent game.
It's amazing how emotions can change so quickly in the space of a few days.
And to his credit, improvising in an unfamiliar position down the left, he was caught napping for that Preston third goal. Or is there a chance for Huddersfield to come back into it late? 4 minutes left. Thomas's cross met by Brown.
High foot. High foot, just on the edge of the 18-yard box. Yeah.
Free kick to Preston to clear the lines, and Huddersfield Town's attack has broken down. Mark Fotheringham looks on, calm, not particularly demonstrative at all. He'll have some food for thought with certain individuals for the rest of the Championship campaign. Certainly Matt Lowton, though he ran out of steam, positionally reminded us that he is a trade right back today on his Huddersfield Town debut, starting his loan from Burnley. Boyle meets the clearance from Woodman. Kamara has put himself about in midfield for Town. He's fouled and has won a free kick midway inside his own half. Alvaro Fernandez is going to be subbed. And this is Robbie Brady, the former Burnley and Hull player, to come down in that same position down the left. And though Huddersfield Town, for the second consecutive match, have contained the Spaniard on loan from Manchester United, Alvaro Fernandez, pretty well, other parts of the Preston team have managed to undo them in any case.
Well, undo themselves. I think more of the story of today. Blokovic made one really good save in the first half, but apart from that, he's done a bit of sweeping up. And if it wasn't for individual mistakes and a bit of switching off, I'm not sure what Preston would have created.
3-1 Preston North End lead. And we're in the 88th minute. Here comes Sorba Thomas's free kick from wide on the left-hand side. It's slightly too high for Will Boyle, even for Hughes, who might have ducked a centimetre or two under it as it flew beyond his jump. It's a goal kick to Preston North End, and that is the signal for the Huddersfield Town fans who've made the journey across to Deepdale to think about heading back onto the motorway early.
Yeah, I think so. But also, I think a back post runner there. You know, it's a decent ball. Thomas Shake's high for the man around the 6-yard box. But where's that runner coming behind Boyle to put the ball back into the box?
Hughes works hard, as he's done all day long for Preston, to keep the ball in play, with Woodman's slightly miscued goal kick flying out towards the touchline on the far side. Back across it comes, but Woodburn can't keep it in play on this right-hand side. Preston North End 3, Huddersfield Town 1 on BBC Radio Leeds. And Will Boyle just looks a little bit disgruntled as he throws in backwards for his teammates, involving Michael Helik and others, to work it up the right-hand side. Kian Harrott buzzing around to try and impress persuade his head coach for more selections in the future, despite what the scoreboard shows. He can't stop Preston from releasing the ball downfield. On halfway, Brady, Johnson, and then the lift over the top for Cross-Adair to chase. Out comes Bilokovic, timing his run well to put it out of play. And we enter the first of 4 minutes added on. 3-1 Preston lead, and even some of their fans are going home to look forward to the draw, which we have learnt today, thanks to Johnny Buchan's meticulous research. The draw being tomorrow.
And there will be ball number 1.
They, Preston, not Huddersfield. Are you booking that in already, Johnny? You're writing off a late comeback?
3.5 minutes to go, Oggy. I think I'm pretty safe.
Hey, it's the FA Cup.
We'd need a lot of magic. We need Harry Potter to be here to fix this one.
A tired Etienne Kamara is dispossessed. Johnson finds Woodburn. Woodburn sees his shot blocked by the backtracking Will Boyle. Again staying focused, Town's sub-defender. Johnson's gone down with cramp in the penalty area, and he's slightly in the way of Bilokovic, the keeper. Preston keep the ball down the right with Cross-Adair. Boyle struggling to keep Cross-Adair in his sights. Then he recovers, stays flat in his run. Nice defending Will Boyle to make sure it goes for a goal kick. But it's all to no avail, because Preston North End are poised for a ticket to the FA Cup 4th round. Leeds United kick off tomorrow against Cardiff City. We'll have full match commentary on BBC Radio Leeds with Adam Pope, John Newsom, Catherine Hanna down there, or there will be by then, in South Wales for you. Kamara for Preston is going to come on to replace Al Brown, and he's still cherished here by the Preston fans. Is Alan Brown. He got a goal to cap his performance as skipper today. And Huddersfield Town work the goal kick up towards Tom Lees via Mikhail Helik from Bilokovic. Dwayne Holmes unhappy with Daniel Johnson's attendance. Complains to the referee. Huddersfield Town get the throw, but no more. And Bambo Diaby, probably on the strength of that spectacular second goal to give Preston the lead, as much as his defending, has been given the Man of the Match award by the local sponsors here. 3-1 Preston lead. Kane Kessler-Hayden for Huddersfield Town. Curves a ball for Florian Kamberi to chase into this bottom pocket of the field. He's not going to keep it in play. Too much right foot on it, inevitably, from the right-footed Kane Kessler-Hayden. Compared to other striking options, you've seen two potential new recruits for the Championship selections, Matty, today, Kamberi and Tyree Simpson. Where would your thinking be ahead of Hull next week in the Championship for Huddersfield Town?
Probably still Jordan Rhodes, to tell you the truth, only because of lack of game time for the two that have come on.
Injury time, Brady runs down the left-hand side, but his cross is met too well by the arriving player for Preston North End, Kamara. It's a goal kick. But you were saying?
Two options. One stronger player. I mean, if you need that kind, if it's that kind of game at Hull, and then you've got someone who's obviously got pace, Kamberi, but it needs to sharpen up. He's had a chance to win the game today, and a couple of other touches as well, a little bit loose. I don't know, that's not enough game time, enough minutes on the pitch, but you can see there's something there, and they've got different options now up front. But for me, it just brings Jordan Rhodes back in, because he's a man in form scoring goals.
And from Huddersfield Town's point of view, it says a lot that we're already looking ahead to next week's Championship resumption and the vital match at Hull City for Huddersfield Town in their quest to get out of the relegation zone, because there's absolutely no chance of the prospect of an FA Cup run even to the 4th round this season. The final whistle's gone at Deepdale, and Preston have booked their ticket with a second half attacking performance to recover from Huddersfield Town's opening goal of the tie from Swiss substitute Florian Camberi, well taken on the half volley. But Preston equalised shortly afterwards when Tom Lees couldn't control the cross from Ben Woodburn, and then they went straight onto the front foot for the rest of the match. Diaby took advantage of a slip in the penalty area after a set piece. David Kasumu the culprit, and a split second later Bambo Diaby's shot was flying into the back of the net to give Preston the 2-1 lead. And a cross into the box, hesitated on by Kane Kessler-Hayden, was pounced on from behind by Alan Brown, nipping in front of him to poke the ball over the line from 2 yards, sealing Preston's passage into the next round of the FA Cup. A dull first half, a much more open and entertaining second. No complaints surely about the result though, even from the most ardent Huddersfield Town watcher. Preston North End 3, Huddersfield Town 1, and Preston go through.